I'm Hailey.
I'm Sean.
And welcome to Hailey Hates Everything.
I pick a surprise topic.
And I get high and opinionated so we can discuss it together.
So grab a snack and hang out with us for
Hailey Hates Everything. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Hailey Hates Everything. I'm Hailey, and I am by myself today to introduce this special bonus episode of the podcast. This is something we recorded during the most recent episode of the podcast, and Sean went on about his reading of the Dune books for so long, we're making it a bonus episode. Now, if you love the Dune series or you want to read it and you don't want any spoilers, maybe you don't want to listen to this. If you don't care about Dune, I really want you to listen to it because I don't care about Dune either, not in that way. And Sean he nerded out hardcore, and I really want you to go on the ride with me. So without further ado, please listen to Sean's retelling and highlights of the 8-book series of Dune.
One thing I was listening to a bunch was the rest of the original Dune series of books. And if you guys remember, we covered the latest Dune movie.
We covered both of them.
Yes. And the 1980 Dune movie.
Yeah, it was a lot. But I will say, one of my favorite episodes, I think. So if you're new to the podcast, go back, listen to the Dune episode. That's one of my faves. Also, Every Blowy Begins with Zales. That's still one of my favorites. I mentioned that to someone, an acquaintance we met at brunch, who found out we had a podcast. I told him to go to that one. Now, did they know I was talking about podcast episode titles? When I said, Every Blowy Begins with Zales. And he's like, what? Every Blowy Begins with Zales. He looks at me like I'm crazy. And I go, that's the name of the podcast title. Go listen to that one. That's one of my favorites. And it just dawned on me after all of that he just heard Every Blowy Begins with Zales. It was comical after the fact to me. At the time, I didn't get it. But anyway, those are two to check out if you're new.
I was going to give a quick recap on...
Oh, Lord.
How Dune ended.
You mean the whole entire story?
Yes.
Okay, spoiler alert. If you love Dune and you wanted to read all the fucking books about the hundreds of thousands of years of worm people, then spoiler alert, don't listen to what Sean's about to say, but then come back later, okay? But if you don't give a fuck about Dune, I do want you to tune into this because he started talking about this in the car and I said no. I said no. Save it for the podcast because what you're telling me is nuts. Grade A choice beef nuts. All right. I really want y'all to hear this because I had to start hearing it. All right, go ahead.
All right. I'll set up some basics here. So, if you've seen the latest Dune movie with Timothée Chalamet, you have essentially learned the story for half of the first book out of an 8-book series.
Whoo, boy.
The original author, Frank Herbert, wrote the first 6 books, and then he died. His son, Brian Herbert, and another author, Kevin J. Anderson, who wrote some Star Wars books, they collaborated and wrote the last 2 books based off some notes that they found from Frank Herbert.
Now, if y'all's nerd alerts are going off, they are calibrated correctly. This is high nerd that you're witnessing. And I will say, the longer he starts talking about it, the more he gets into it, he's shaking. He looked like he was shaking with excitement to talk about this bullshit he's been listening to for months. And it's actually really comical, so I want to go on this ride with everyone. Okay. All right. So, there are 8 books. The last 2 were written by the son.
Yep.
And
Kevin J. Anderson.
It's gone Wow. From what I've heard. So carry on with what you're saying.
All right. So you've met Paul Atreides.
Paul Atreides!
Who was Timothy Chalamet. And you've met Leto Atreides, his dad.
Yes.
Oscar Isaac.
Hailey got killed. That's a waste. God
Yeah,
damn.
Daddy.
Sucks. They need to come back.
Man, that fucking beard game. Oh, so good.
Yes, it is.
I wish I could pull off something like that, man.
You know, and we were just talking about Oscar Isaac and Pedro Pascal and how they're unconventionally handsome. And I love that. I love how intriguing it is to be unconventionally handsome.
Yeah, really. I guess in this day and age, if we want to go woke, it's just handsome.
Fuck you. Fuck you. I wasn't.
Oh, shit.
It wasn't a diss to anyone because they are handsome. They're handsome. Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
But what I mean is, no one would describe them as pretty boys.
No,
They're not a Sam Heughan, if I can put it in that.
You don't have to explain yourself. I just literally said it to set you off.
You know what? You're a motherfucker. And I've noticed, there are people in my life I've noticed who are doing little things like that. To try to make me react and set me off. And sometimes it's really funny. And sometimes it's not. Did I say it's snot? No, I said it's not. Before you go on that tangent and want to irritate me about that.
Oh, God.
But for both of them, I'd say yes. Are they handsome? Yeah. Would I do them? Sure. Yes. They seem like a good time, quite honestly. I'm sorry, Pedro. I'm sorry, Oscar. If you want to be on the podcast, please come on. Let's talk. I would fucking love it. I fucking love it. Would fucking love it. I don't know why I wanted to go into that R&B song. What's it called? Come and Talk to Me. That one? Okay, anyway, it's Come and Talk to Me by Jodeci. That's what I was thinking of. I was like, come and talk to me.
So back to Dune.
Yes, back to reality. Dune. Let's go.
The main other character you really need to know about is Duncan Idaho, who was portrayed by
Jason Mamoa.
Jason Mamoa. Okay, so tons of shit happens. I don't even know. I could probably go for a really long time about this.
You probably could. So let's skip to what you were talking about in the car, which is the son of Paul Atreides, and this is what you were telling me, becomes a sandworm.
Okay, yeah, when he becomes the God Emperor of Dune.
So go start with that, okay? This is insane.
Okay, so Timmy Chalamet, Paul Moadib,
The Cuisinarts cataracts.
Oh, fuck. You just broke it in my head. Shit. The Cuisinarts Haderach. There we go. He has twins with Zendaya, who is Cheney. And they have these twins, and one of them is Leto the second, and he ends up essentially, so baby sandworms are called sand trout, and they suck up all the water, and so that's why everything's desert, and they end up growing up into big worms. Leto the second.
Okay, this leads me to believe that the worms create the environment that they live in. And why are they called trout? Because they like water first?
Yeah, I guess so. There's also sand plankton. That's what the sandworms eat.
I thought they ate the spice.
I think
they poop the spice.
Yeah, I think spice is like a poop.
Spice is the poop.
Yeah.
Okay. But they eat the sand plankton.
Yeah.
But before they're worms, they're trout. And they love water, but then they drink all the water so that the land becomes the sand.
Yep.
And the desert.
Yep.
And then makes room for them, essentially, to grow and become the sand-loving beasts that they were always meant to be.
Yeah.
Is this correct?
Yeah.
So, what comes first, the worm or the trout?
I guess the trout does. But you can kill a worm with water, and they'll essentially disintegrate into sand trout.
Oh, fuck. Oh, fuck. Sean, that is a Gremlin scenario. When a gremlin gets some water, oh my God, then it creates more.
Yeah.
So how do you really kill it? Because it's a never-ending cycle. Because if you try to kill it with water, which is what's supposed to kill it, then it just disintegrates into its own baby selves, who
Yeah.
then go on to still be big old worms.
Yeah, like potentially exponentially
Create
grow from there.
more.
Yeah, yeah. Which is one thing in the last book, that there is a world where some of these got transplanted and it was starting to turn the world into a desert, and these people were trying to fight it. And they were killing the sandworms with water,
Can't do
which
it.
just makes more sand trout.
Can you kill them with fire?
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
So it's like they're like defeating themselves because they're just like exponentially making more sand trout.
And they didn't know this. They didn't know that it was becoming sand trout. Are sand trout microorganisms that you can't see until they become worms, or what's going on there?
No, sand trout I think are like the size of a trout.
Oh, okay. But so an eel.
Something like that. I don't know. Well, they can kind of go flat. I don't know. I feel like they're maybe more like that one catfish, like a sole,
Okay.
where they're kind of flat like that. I feel like that's kind of what a sand trout is like.
Okay.
Because back to it, Leto II Atreides, born essentially Kwisatz Haderach, essentially.
So I thought that the Cuisinarts Cataracts was a one-person situation, and you're saying it's lineage situation.
It's a level of being that can be attained. It's like a Superman.
Like an enlightenment, or like a coming into your power situation, or...
Yeah, you have this prescience where you can see the future, but then you also have all of these past lives on all these past lives to also reflect upon.
So it's like inner knowing the house down boots situation.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay, I get it now. That helps put everything into perspective. Okay.
Okay, awesome, great. He ends up, I think he drinks the water of life and gets even more prescient and sees the golden path, and then he gets sand trout to affix to him all over his body, making essentially a bodysuit for him that covers everything but like his face and like his palms, and the sand trout become an exoskeleton that's completely impermeable by anything. And
Why are they impermeable?
or impenetrable.
How are they impenetrable? Why?
They can just do that because the worms basically are mostly impenetrable.
So I
hide.
gotta ask, how is he shitting? How is he eating and just doing normal people things? Because he's still in a human body.
Yeah, yeah.
So
Yeah, his body's there, but now he has sand trout all over him. Well, at least in the
no, yeah,
beginning.
I understood that from the way that you described it the first time. But what I'm asking is, like the suits that they were wearing in the movie that uses their
Oh, I
peepees,
got you.
poo-poos,
Yeah.
sweats, whatever, to then create their hydration system, yada yada. Is the trout doing the same thing for him, or how is he sustaining the life of his body and doing its functions underneath a layer of trout?
Yeah, absolutely. They have a symbiotic relationship, and they actually help him with, digestion and every part of his body and stuff.
So have they bitten him and they're like part of him? Because you explained it like they were an armor instead of them being inside him and stuff.
Well, they're touching against him, and somehow
Oh,
that
somehow that.
symbiosis, that connection,
Okay, that's crazy. Okay.
yeah, to the point where the sand trout keep growing, and essentially he becomes a sandworm with just like his little human face and these little arms and some little legs sticking out the back. Let's get you some images here.
There's images like fan art.
There's the book cover.
Oh, where they actually have what he looks like? Let me explain this drawing to the people. Now, there's a red background, apocalyptic. There's people in little white suits sort of exalting this worm who you can tell has some kind of personhood. But the thing about this drawing is it looks like a snake body that they want to sort of phallically exalt because it looks like a penis with a man's head on the end, as if it's wearing a hood. That's the sort of foreskin part of it. Oh no. Sean's scrolling through search results. There's one that looks like a cat with a chin skin situation and a Jabba the Hutt body. And then here's one with a man's head face, like the first half of his head. But then there are chin skin after chin skin into a giant, I don't know, bib of skin onto sort of a Jabba the Hutt kind of body. So we're talking kind of the Jabba the Hutt situation, sort of an eel, but also I don't think anyone's got it together on exactly what this thing looks like because everything is more hideous than the next as Sean scrolls through the search results for the God Emperor of Dune. Anyway, I don't like this thing. But you said this thing starts fucking shit up. This worm man.
Yeah, so he basically starts terraforming Dune. Like, all the worms go away, gets all tropical and shit, and he lives for 3,500 years, and he keeps getting all these clones of Duck in Idaho made, just like one after another.
Is he fucking them, or?
No, he just likes having Duncan, Idaho, which is
okay.
Jason
And you
Mamoa.
said he lived for a really long time.
Yeah, he lived for 3,500 years.
3,500 years.
Yeah.
This worm man was crawling about, just messing everything up, making it worse. Because I tell you what, I don't want to go from, you know, a nice sort of Scotland climate to tropical without my say-so, without traveling. I don't want the earth to just become warmer. So hello, climate change exists. Please do something. Recycle, do something, you guys. As he's living, Duncan Idaho is sort of his soulmate in this situation. He's like, I need him here all the time. I need his input. But guess what? He went bye-bye because he's not a worm man like me. And so I'm going to clone him. And essentially, now, whenever Duncan's clones come, are they the same kind of Duncan? Or are they Pet Cemetery situation where he has different personalities? Something else is going on. He's a little sour.
No, for the most part, what they do is they raise them to a certain age, and then they can, like, influence them somewhat by training them over this time period before, at, I don't know what age they do it, but then they make, through this traumatic process, essentially, they get them to remember their original life over again.
Oh.
So, like, there was one time where they trained the Duncan Idaho. They call them Agola, but we can just call them clones.
Oh my lord!
Because Agola is made from like dead flesh, dead DNA versus living DNA or something like that.
I didn't ask, but thank you for that.
So one time they trained them as a mentat, which is the guys where their eyes
the
go
ones
like
who
all
know
white
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like a human computer or whatever. Like one time they trained him, or numerous times they trained him like that, and then restored his memories, and then.
Is that what your chosen job would be in Dune? Is like a mentat?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'd be down with that. Duncan Idaho's been brought back all these tons of times and stuff, and then finally, these cloning people, the Ixians, make a perfect bride for the God Emperor of Dune using a no chamber, which is a special chamber design that can't be viewed by any type of sort of prescience.
What?
So,
huh? So it's invisible?
Sometimes it's completely invisible, but its primary goal is to be invisible from prescience. So they make this perfect bride for him, and he's going to get married, and they're going along a bridge on Arrakis, which is Dune, and then one of the Duncan Idaho clones has decided that the God Emperor needs to be gone and gets a little along with some other Fremen, and so they shoot laser guns and make him.
I was going to say, did they use water? Because that's not going to work.
Well, that's the goal, though, and so they use laser guns to make him fall into a river.
What?
Yep.
Why?
Because you can't just shoot him with the laser guns because his body's impenetrable to it. Unless they shot him directly like in the face, but they don't know that. So he falls into the water and his whole body turns into sand trout. He has this tiny little shriveled body. That's all that's left at the end, and then he dies. But then all the sand trout then take off, and they all have some bit of him in them, and they take off, and then they start re-terraforming Dune and making worms again.
So the people who wanted to get rid of him, they sort of did, but they sort of did not. They made it worse by making a million other sand trouts.
Well, but see, the whole thing is that because he terraformed Dune, it made spice even more valuable because he had the only source of spice and all that was left of it. So that restricted space travel and restricted how long people could live because it helps you live longer. There's basically, we're gonna get into some good stuff. I forget how many books in we are.
Oh gosh.
But basically, this creates the famine where there's no spice, there's no like interstellar trade and stuff, so people they call it the scattering, and just like a ton of people just leave.
Scatter, is that right?
Yep, they scatter out of the known universe part, and they're gone for maybe it's only 1,500 years. It's way in the future. There's been even more Duncan Idaho clones over all this time.
Who's making them? If Homeboy is dead and all of his trout have become other trout, how are they still making Duncan Idaho clones?
The Sisterhood is still making them.
Fucking shit.
Yep.
Why?
I don't know. They're smart or something.
They just like Duncan Idaho?
Yeah.
Or do they like Duncan Idaho?
Oh, yeah, no. Even the God Emperor used them for breeding stock, as they say.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Because then the whole God Emperor, he was essentially doing what the Sisterhood was doing as well, having a whole breeding program and stuff, so.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's something else. I mean, I'd watch.
Yeah, I mean, it's Jason Mamoa.
It's Jason Mamoa.
You wouldn't have a breeding program?
Look, if you can clone Jason Mamoa, you probably should. And I get why they want him for the breeding program. But I just, ethically and so many other things, it's just terrible wrong.
Yeah. So I think it's 1,500 years later, people start coming back, and it's these honored matres who are these...
What the fuck, Sean? You throw out all of these words, the Exatorians and the whatever the fuck you just said right now, and nobody knows what this is.
It's the Honored Madres, which are...
Okay, the Otter Madres? These are mother otters who have come out of the blue. The Otter Madres. That's what I heard.
Honored Madres. They're potentially even more deadly than the Bene Gesserit Sisterhood.
Okay.
They have some adrenaline thing where their eyes like turn orange and they can kick really fast and hard, kill you with a kick.
God, I'd love that. Don't take me to Costco though.
And they're like super all about getting bling and like killing the person above them to get higher up in the rankings.
I'm looking around
and being able to have more bling and shiny capes and all kinds of stuff.
Okay, stop. What are these called? The Honored Madres?
Yep, you got it.
Am I one?
Yeah.
Am I an Honored Madre and I don't know? I get a fire in my eyes and I like to swift kick. You know I love to do my Spice Girls kick.
Yep.
I can get my leg high up there. I love bling.
Yeah.
Am I an Honored Madre?
Yeah, sounds like it.
Holy shit.
Although, the Honored Madre, you end up finding out that they're actually the female Ixians.
Look, you say this to me like
Female
my jaw's gonna
Talaxians.
drop, and I don't even know what I'm responding to.
Female Talaxu, that's who it is.
Okay, what's a Talaxu? What's a regular Talaxu?
The Talaxu are the ones who do all the cloning.
Okay, and so a female Talaxu is...
Nobody's usually has ever seen them.
Why?
Because it turns out that they have these cloning tanks called axolotl tanks.
Why is everything with an X in it? Every word you've mentioned has an X in it. Why? Is that preferred in their language?
Well, it turns out that axolotl tank is just like a nice phrasing for saying a brain-dead woman used for creating babies.
Oh my god.
And these honored madres are the female ones of them who are able to like be resuscitated essentially and recover from it, and now they're just like fucking pissed as fuck.
I was gonna say that's why they're mad.
Yeah Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm totally on their side. But I will say, as much as I love bling, I'm not an honored madre, but I am supportive of them. I'm an ally. So yeah, ladies, kick ass.
They come back, they're just like kicking ass and taking over places.
Good.
And they also have come up with a way of sexual imprinting,
Uh-oh, what is
which
that?
is like completely controlling someone through sex. Like they have absolute control of their body and their vagina. They're able to exercise all the muscles possible.
Wait,
And
okay, wait, hold on a second. But aren't the honored madres, are they taking control of their vaginas or someone
yes,
else's?
they're taking control of their vaginas
How do
to
they not
control
already
men.
have control of their vagina?
No, they have control. They're using it.
But you said only because they're using this special thing that they're doing. What'd you call it?
Sexual imprinting?
Sexual imprinting.
Uh-huh.
You said because they're doing this special thing, that's why they're taking control of their own vagina. Why don't they have control over it
No,
beforehand?
they have control of their vagina. They're using their vagina to take control over men. To like just
Okay,
like
great.
completely.
This doesn't sound bad.
Yeah, it's completely make them do anything they want.
I don't want to have to do that, but yeah, sometimes you gotta. Look, there are ups and downs to this scenario. I'm just thinking of the things that I would like.
So it can take over whole societies using this method, and then just like outright control and weapons and killing and stuff as well.
So they use it for revenge. They don't use it to make everything better, though.
No, they're not really trying to make things better. They're just trying to make things better for themselves so they can get.
But how does destroying everything make it better for themselves? Or are they just killing everyone else so it's just them?
Yeah, so they have control over everyone.
That's not how I would play that game, but okay.
They don't kill. They kill anyone who opposes them, and then essentially and has the rest of the planets do their work for them and create revenue and
Okay.
and harvest like expensive stones and things of that nature.
Well, see, I feel like I can't really get behind anyone because as soon as I get excited about, yes, I'm team whatever.
Honored Madres.
The Honored Madres. I'm team Honored Madres. And then I'm like, ooh, but wait a second. I don't feel good about what they're doing here with the vagina harnessing and the destroying of everything. I feel like if you're going to control a man through sexual manipulation, it should be fun for both parties.
Oh, they seem to enjoy it.
I mean, they should. Yeah, good.
Yeah.
They should. I mean, are the honored madres having fun? That's what
Yeah.
I want to make sure about for sure.
Yeah, it seems like it.
So, with the consequence of the honored madres using the sexual manipulation, they're making these dudes go kill everybody and destroy everything that they know and love, these dudes, as revenge for the harms that have been put upon them in the past, the honored madres, because they have been sexually manipulated, essentially. Their existence was for that. They're like, you know what? Fuck you, I'm going to do it back, and I'm going to destroy everything you love in the process.
Yeah.
That seems what it is. And what I'm saying is, I don't necessarily agree with that, because I feel like if you're going to control a dude and make him do anything you want to do, then you should make him do things the way that they should be done. And that is the way that can help people and make the world a better place.
Yeah.
You know?
You gotta sex these guys so they recycle.
Exactly. Yes. Fuck your man into recycling, ladies.
You're gonna put that card away every time. Yep, so they're back, they're doing their thing. They do end up taking revenge on the Tlaxu and kill all of the Tlaxu masters except for like maybe
the clone
one.
masters.
Yep, except for one who gets on a no ship with one of the Duncan Idahos. The latest Duncan Idaho, who has also been manipulated by the Tlaxu before he was given his memories back at having some extra like sexual prowess and stuff.
What?
Yeah. So it ends up where he gets an honored matre, tries imprinting him through her sexual maneuvers. He flips the fucking switch and they like imprint each other, and now they don't have either of them have control over each other, but they're just like super sexed to get it on with each other all the time and stuff.
That sounds great. I want to watch that movie. I want to watch that unfold.
So she ends up training as a sister now
Oh my god. Why can't...
in the
Okay.
sisterhood, and then over time she gets to the top, and then she takes over and does like a takeover of the Honored Madres, becoming one sisterhood of the Bene Gesserit sisterhood and the Honored Madres.
Sean, I'm going to have to stop you because here's the thing. I don't even remember what I was going to say. Because you just kept droning on.
So real quick at the end, there's a no ship with Duncan, Idaho. We had Jason Mamoa on this no ship. It's got like some worms, and they had the last Tleilaxu master who has a null entropy tube which can't be detected, but it has all the cells
None of this
for
makes
all
sense.
of these like major people throughout history, so that they can make new clones of them. So that they end up making a new Paul Atreides and a new Cheney and a new Leto the Second.
You're not going to stop until your hard drive overrides and I have to restart you, huh?
And they're growing them, they're getting larger over all these years, but then there's like these mysterious old people who are chasing them, and it ends up being that when the Honored Matres were off outside the known galaxy, they pissed off the thinking machines, who were supposed to have been thought completely extinct during the Butlerian Jihad. Which is when they outlawed thinking machines and killed all type of machines that could imitate human thought.
Here's first question, and this is what I was going to ask earlier and forgot about. Why can't people leave well enough alone? She was like, yeah, this guy, I don't have to manipulate him and I still want to fuck him forever. Yay, me. Goes off and lives a beautiful life instead of fucking around and then finding out. And what the fuck is a Butlerian Jihad?
Serena Butler apparently was like working with the independent thinking machine Erasmus, and she had a baby, and Erasmus got pissed that the baby was crying throughout a window, and Serena Butler started a revolution.
What?
Which they called the Butlerian Jihad because it was to stop all thinking machines.
Nobody thought that was a terrible name. First of all, nobody said Butlerian Jihad? That's the best we can do? That's what makes sense? Because Sabrina Butler wants to end machines? That's what they came up with. And here, more than the story disturbs me, is you disturbing me with your immediate response to the questions that I'm asking you. When I ask you a question that I think is jokey, jokey Smurf, you're over there, Butlerian, Arrakis, Abraxas, Axelrose, blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, what the fuck is any of that? And that, sir, disturbs me. That you can rattle off all this shit, but you can't remember to clean some crumbs off the counter? That is nutty.
Okay, so we come to the very end. The very end, we got like a 14-year-old Paul Atreides clone. We got an 11-year-old Paul Atreides clone, but who has been trained by, surprise, surprise, a clone of Baron Harkonnen. And has been made an evil version of himself.
That's the nasty guy. Yeah. Wait, you said an evil version of himself? He was already evil.
He trained an evil version of Paul Atreides.
Oh.
Timothée Chalamet. So now we have an evil Timothée Chalamet versus a good one. They do a knife fight, of course, like with even the original knife that Fade Ralpha had, and a Chris knife from one of the new sandworms.
Oh, great. Uh-huh.
And evil Paul essentially does a death blow to good Paul. He takes Ultra Spice, which is made from worms that have been modified to be able to exist in water.
Oh, I thought that was just going to be like, what if the Spice Girls doubled themselves?
Well, if they can combine.
Went on tour. Yeah. Yeah. What if each Spice Girl, we got to get Posh back though, and each Backstreet Boy, because Kevin's back, they three-legged raced themselves to each other.
What? three-legged race themselves to each other.
Tie their ankles together. You're connected to the other person.
Yeah.
One Spice Girl, one Backstreet Boy.
Okay.
That's Ultra Spice. They go on tour. The challenge is they have to perform all the songs together.
Okay.
I would go to that. I think it'd be hilarious and fun. And I'd want to participate. Oh my God. Okay.
Evil Paul takes the Ultra Spice, achieves the ultimate level of prescience.
Here's another thing that's even more interesting than what you're talking about. And what you're saying made me think of this, is Future Max in Roswell. When Future Max comes to Roswell and then Max finds him, Max is quiet and secretive and moody and okay. But Future Max?
Yeah.
Holy shit, another ball game.
Think for Future Max.
I do. Yeah, you know about Future Max. And that's what it made me think of. Now, they didn't fight themselves. I don't think so. Although I don't think they were cool. That's just what it made me think of, is when Future Max came. His hair was longer and he was like hot and confident.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Future Max was where it's at. I was like, when are we going to the future, baby?
Evil Paul Atreides, Ultra Spice, absolute prescience. Every nanosecond he sees all of existence. He basically just goes into a coma.
Yeah, I was going to say that's how I feel.
Yeah. And then the clone of the Dr. Yui, who is the one who betrayed them.
Why are they cloning everybody?
Part of it's just because they could.
Why not? Is their scenario?
Yeah, and the other parts, we know there's some shit coming. We're going to need these people to help us.
Now, I understand wanting to be prepared.
Yeah.
But if I was going to clone people willy-nilly, I would still pick very specific people to clone.
Well, they covered that where they were like,
okay.
They kind of, because it can be a tricky process to get them to recover their memories. And if they failed with Dr. Yui, it was, we just lost the time and effort to raise him.
Oh.
Yeah. He was kind of the guinea pig. He was the first one. So
he's like a wildling. Is that what happened?
No, he was expendable, essentially. But he was able to recover his memories, and he remembered how
expendable he was? Yeah, that sounds familiar.
He remembered that the whole reason he betrayed the Atreides was because Baron Harkonnen, had his wife and tortured her and was going to kill her, all those kinds of things. So he takes the Fade Ralpha knife and kills the Baron Harkonnen clone.
Well, that's a step in the right direction after how many thousands of years?
Yeah. This is all on Synchronicity or something like that. The
movie?
No. Synchrony. It's the world of the thinking machines.
Which
is
the Butlerian shit. Why didn't they call it? Because they're getting rid of the machines, correct? They're offloading them, so to speak. So why didn't they call it the Butlerian load off or something like that?
I don't know. Frank Herbert seems to have something with
Butlerians,
Islamic things and jihads, and I think like the Fremen seem to have a
Arabic cultural influence type
of thing or something.
Okay.
And stuff, so that's what it seems.
How many jihads are in the book?
Well, Paul and Muad'Dib, he ends up having his own jihad.
Is that what they call it?
He can take over. Yeah, I think they call it a jihad. Yeah.
Oh.
So he can take over the universe.
Right.
That's back.
Way back there.
Yeah.
Thousands, hundreds.
So the Leto clone on the No ship gets with the sandworms they have.
I thought we were done.
And he starts attacking the machine city. Oh, then they figure out neither of the Pauls are the Kwisatz Haderach that the Machine Empire was looking for. Hailey's finally getting fed up with this. And in fact, it is Duncan Idaho who, because now that he has lived so many lives, this version of Duncan Idaho finally remembered all of his previous lives. And he is now the ultimate Kwisatz Haderach.
What do you mean all of his previous lives? You mean all of the clones for like hundreds of thousands of years?
Yeah, for thousands of years.
Thousands of years?
Yep.
How can he handle all that information?
I don't know, but somehow
Does he remember about the sex stuff, though?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
he ends up having to actually have sex with this other Bene Gesserit sister because he's so addicted to having sex with the Honored Madre one to help break his addiction to having sex with her.
is she that good or that bad?
That good.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Again, this is the storyline I'd like to follow through the years. This I'm interested in. If you could just focus on those parts in your tale of
Yeah.
tales,
Yeah.
then that I would listen to that.
All right, almost there.
Okay.
So the Oracle of Time, who is the original Spice Navigator lady.
Oh my God, I thought you were going to say Original Spice Girl, and I was going to love that.
The Oracle of Time snatches up all of Omnius from all over the universe, wherever his bits are stored,
Okay.
and goes to an alternate universe so Omnius can never come back and be the ruler of the Machine Empire. And Erasmus bonds with Jason Momoa, Super Jason Momoa.
What?
Who, yeah, because
Who's Erasmus?
he's the independent thinking machine. Erasmus is one of the leaders of the Machine Empire.
So Jason Mamoa becomes a robot.
He joins partially with the robot.
What does that
yes.
mean?
Now he is now the leader essentially of humanity and the Machine Empire.
And so what does that get him? What does that do?
He can have the machines help progress humanity and society.
Oh, wait, he's going to actually do something for good?
Yes.
Wow, that's unexpected.
Yep, so they're going to have a coming together of humanity and machines for the betterment of both societies. So machines will now start having more independent thought, and there are worlds that aren't being able to be inhabited by humans. Machines can go live there. So now all of these Machine Empire human...
Do they have a name for this movement?
I don't think so.
I have a suggestion.
Okay.
The Butlerian progression.
Sounds good. Which, at the very end, you find out they do make a clone of Serena Butler.
Oh my God.
At the very end.
Didn't they learn anything about the cloning? Nobody learned anything about the cloning. Nothing? Remember when all those clones were made to be raped constantly? Remember all those clones were made to just have their semen? Remember when all those clones were made for fucking shit up? Nobody remembered any of that? And how awful cloning had become? So, oh, doot-de-doo, let's clone another one. Remember that lady that caused a scene?
Yeah.
Let's do her.
No, people had to volunteer to be a breeding tank or whatever.
During this new cloning process?
Yeah, during, like, in the sisterhood and stuff.
Oh, okay. Would you volunteer?
No.
Oh, okay.
If you watch the new Dune movie, you've witnessed half of the very first book of these 8. So now you have an idea of where it's going.
You think you know? You have no idea. Now you do.
Yep.
Now you can use all this information at parties.
Well, I honestly, supposedly HBO is making a prequel series called The Sisterhood, based on a trilogy of books by Brian Herbert and Kevin J. Anderson that chronicles the beginning, after the Butlerian Jihad, the beginning of the forming of the Sisterhood and the Spacing Guild and all that kind of stuff that happened after they ended the Machine Empire. So, if anybody's like, you heard about any new shows that are going to come out on HBO Max, you can be like, well, actually, did you enjoy the Dune movie? They're making a prequel to it that took place 10,000 years before the Dune movie about...
Okay, let's settle down. Let's settle down. One, I thought you were going to say that you've talked to people at parties using this information, but then you kept going on about it. And then I was like, oh my God, he's going to short circuit and he'll never stop. The other thing is, I think everyone listening to this podcast understands just what a nerd you are and how much you have come alive in both tone and volume and personality in the time that you've discussed this god-awful series.
The trilogy about the sisterhood and stuff, it was pretty good, so I enjoyed it. I'm looking forward to the series when it comes out.
Okay, so you're excited about the TV show, because you're excited about this world. That's what I'm saying, is that people can hear your excitement and they're like, oh my gosh, I've never heard Sean come alive so much. Truly, he is a nerd because he's so into this shit and he's going on about it. Now, I love when people nerd out about the things they like. I truly do. It's entertaining, even if I don't give a fuck about it. I like hearing people nerd out about the things that they like.
Yeah,
and I will do my best to pay attention. And sometimes it's really interesting. A lot of the times, actually, it's interesting. I'm just saying, they could feel your passion for this thing that you're into.
If you thought the beginning of the episode was heavy with Hailey talk, you just got a whole lot of Sean talk.
Thanks for listening to this bonus episode of the podcast. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope Sean didn't bore you too much with the Dune. I thought it was funny. I made me laugh. And that's really what's important. Anyway, don't forget to follow us on social media, and please email us if you have any topics you want us to discuss, any movies or TV shows, any books. I mean, come on. So let us know what you want to hear if you have any ideas. And I hate to say goodbye, but I love to watch you go. Bye, y'all.